Isaac is born. Genesis 21:1-3. The Lord graciously remembered and visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for her as he had promised. So Sarah conceived and gave birth to a son for Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham named his son Isaac, laughter, the son to whom Sarah gave birth. We are continuing through the book of Genesis and the birth of Isaac. The Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and she bore Abraham a son. God fulfills his covenant promise after 25 years. Isaac's birth is miraculous, echoing divine intervention. In Gnostic cosmology, divine birth often involves emanation from higher aeons, Sophia's descent, not historical fulfillment. Isaac's birth is grounded in covenantal history, not mythic abstraction. Genesis 21:4. So Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, just as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. Sarah said, "God has made me laugh. All who hear about our good news will laugh with me." And she said, "Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have given birth to a son by him in his old age." Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old. Isaac receives the covenant sign, anchoring him in the Abrahamic lineage. Gnostics reject physical rites like circumcision, favoring spiritual gnosis. This act affirms embodied covenant over esoteric detachment. Genesis 21:8-9. The child Isaac grew and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. Now as time went on, Sarah saw Ishmael the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking Isaac. The joyous feast reveals underlying tension. Ishmael's mockery. Galatians 4:29 signals spiritual conflict. Gnostic texts often depict conflict between spiritual and psychic beings. Here, Paul allegorizes Ishmael as born after the flesh, contrasting with Isaac, born after the spirit. Genesis 21:10-14. Therefore she said to Abraham, "Drive out this maid and her son, for the son of this maid shall not be an heir with my son Isaac." The situation distressed Abraham greatly because of his son Ishmael. God said to Abraham, "Do not let it distress you because of Ishmael and your maid. Whatever Sarah tells you, listen to her and do what she asks, for your descendants will be named through Isaac. And I will also make a nation of Ishmael the son of the maid, because he is your descendant." So Abraham got up early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar, putting them on her shoulder, and gave her the boy and sent her away. And she left but lost her way and wandered aimlessly in the wilderness of Beersheba. Cast out this bondwoman and her son. Sarah demands separation to protect Isaac's inheritance. Abraham obeys reluctantly. Gnostic myth often centers on exile from the pleroma. Hagar's exile is physical and historical, not metaphysical. Yet her journey echoes themes of abandonment and divine rescue. Genesis 21:15-19. When the water in the skin was all gone, Hagar abandoned the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, about a bow shot away, for she said, "Do not let me see the boy die." And as she sat down opposite him, she raised her voice and wept. God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What troubles you, Hagar? Do not be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy from where he is resting. Get up, help the boy up, and hold him by the hand, for I will make him a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the empty skin with water and gave the boy a drink. Divine compassion reaches the outcast. The well symbolizes provision and hope. Gnostic salvation is through hidden knowledge. Here, salvation comes through divine intervention and mercy, not secret revelation. Genesis 21:20-21. God was with Ishmael, and he grew and developed, and he lived in the wilderness and became an expert archer. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Ishmael's destiny unfolds outside the covenant, yet under divine care. Gnostic texts often depict wilderness as symbolic of ignorance or exile. In Genesis, it's a place of survival and identity formation. Genesis 21-22:34. Now at that time Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything you do. So now swear to me here by God that you will not deal unfairly with me, by breaking any agreements we have, or with my son or with my descendants. But as I have treated you with kindness, you shall do the same to me and to the land in which you have sojourned, temporarily lived." And Abraham said, "I will swear." Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water which the servants of Abimelech had violently seized from him. Abimelech said, "I do not know who did this thing. Indeed, you did not tell me, and I did not hear of it until today." So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant-binding agreement. Then Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs of the flock, and Abimelech said to Abraham, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs which you have set apart?" Abraham said, "You are to accept these 7 ewe lambs from me as a witness for me, that I dug this well." Therefore that place was called Beersheba, well of the oath or well of the 7, because there the two of them swore an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, got up and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord in prayer, the eternal God. And Abraham lived as a resident alien in the land of the Philistines for many days. Abraham secures peace with Abimelech, marking territorial and spiritual stability. Gnostic cosmology rarely includes political treaties or land claims. Genesis affirms God's work in history and geography, not just metaphysics. Step deeper into the story, explore the next chapter, expand your visual timeline, or build a full narrative series that brings the ancient world to life. Your next scene is waiting. Whoever has ears to hear, listen and take it to heart.